Hello, Earthlings. I'm an actual Martian. I killed the astronaut that was here and took his place. Not really. It's just really lonely up here, and I've had to find my own ways to entertain myself. I've been writing fan fiction about happy days. It's called Happier Days, and it stars me. Not on Mars. That's pretty much all I've got, but it's really good so far. By the way, this is week 1 of the weekly wrap.
Hey guys, welcome to week 1 of the weekly wrap. This is going to be your one-stop shop for all your entertainment news, top 10s about entertainment fun things like music, movies, video games, the like, and we're also going to have movie reviews. My name is Ben, I'm almost attractive, and I am a music business major from Belmont University, although my real passion is telling people why things are good or bad. And that's kind of what I want to do here. Not so much to insult people or to insult things, but because I like talking about movies and TV shows and video games. And food. We'll get to that later though. But mostly what I want to say is that this week we're going to talk about The Martian. Not that I'm the Martian, but this is from The Martian. It's a new movie from Ridley Scott starring Matt Damon, Jessica Chastain, and Jeff Daniels, who I adore. If you don't know anything about the movie, check out this video right here.
Houston, be advised.
We've got a video message. It's directed to the whole crew. Play it.
Mein Gott. Mark Watney's still alive.
Woo! In your face, Neil Armstrong.
We left him behind. Let's go get our boy.
This is something NASA rejected, so we're talking mutiny. And if we mess up the supply rendezvous, we die. If we mess up the Earth gravity assist, we die.
It's space. It doesn't cooperate. I guarantee you that at some point, everything's gonna go south on you. And you're gonna say, this is it. This is how I end.
Is it possible that he's still alive?
Wasn't that fun? So basically what I want to talk about first with this movie is the cast, because I think really at the end of the day, this works with characters more than anything else. Starting mainly with Matt Damon, who is the focus point. He is the Martian, the man stuck on Mars. I have to say that I think he did a great job. What he did great and what I really enjoyed about this movie was that it had a really good opportunity to be a depressing character piece about one man stuck in isolation that eventually loses his mind. But it wasn't that. Matt Damon had humor, he had wit, he had a drive to him that kept you cheering. It could have been very easy for him to go full-on melodramatic and kept you not really rooting for him, just wanting him to die. But he was enjoyable, he was happy, he was someone you wanted to see live, and for that, I think he did great. But let's go back to the people on Earth, because there are a lot of them that did great. Starting with Jeff Daniels, who I love. Jeff Daniels plays a great villain. If you haven't seen Looper, I really recommend it because he does a great job in that, being a villain. In this, he's not so much a villain, though. He's more of just your run-of-the-mill antagonist. He's not against our lead, Matt Damon. He's more just for NASA looking good so they can keep on with their space program. You won't find him as someone you hate, but someone that you often root against because he can be a bit cold at times. Kristen Wiig, another person on Earth who I thought did incredibly well. She is funny at times, but she plays the thing pretty straight, which I'm not used to seeing from her. And it's actually quite a breath of fresh air, and I'd love to see more mature stuff from her in the future. Donald Glover. I love Donald Glover. I love him so much. I was so excited for him to be in this movie. He honestly kind of let me down at the end. If you guys have seen Community, and unfortunately if you've seen season 4 of Community, the episode where he pretends to be Abed for the whole episode, that's kind of what he did here. He was fun at times. He had some good comedic relief. But overall, he just kind of felt out of place, and I really wish either A, we got more of him so we could embellish on his character a bit, or if he just kind of wasn't in it at all, which I kind of felt like he could have been out. But honestly, the best person that was on Earth was Chiwetel Ejiofor. Chiwetel Ejiofor. He was incredibly engaging. Every time he was on screen, I wanted to hear what he had to say. I wanted to hear what his motivations are, and I thought at every turn, he was the guy you needed to listen to. He cared about everything he was doing. He had a great authority, and honestly, I loved having him on screen, and I wanted to be in more stuff. And ever since 12 Years a Slave, he's going to be in everything, so I don't really have to complain about that. But somewhere between the Martian and the people on Earth are these space astronauts that are traveling back to Earth. First off, I have to say Michael Pena. I love Michael Pena. Totally wasted in this, though. He had some good moments, but overall, I think his character was kind of just mundane and scrapped, which I feel for most of the crew. There was one guy I'm not even going to talk about because he was boring. He was bald and he had a beard. That was his character. And then there were Sebastian Stan and Kate Mara, who I love both of them. One was in a great superhero movie. The other, we don't want to talk about it. But they had a very odd chemistry together. Almost seemingly out of nowhere, the two ended up in a relationship in the end. And it's not that I didn't want them to be together, it's just that I had no reason to think they should be. There were a couple longing looks at some parts of the movie, but other than that, it just seemed slapped on at the ending for a happy moment. But the best person on this ship has to be Jessica Chastain. She's the captain of the ship, which is great. I love having female captains. I think it's very important for movies to do, and Jessica Chastain just controls every scene that she's in. She's compassionate, she cares about everything, and she's engaging. Every time she's on screen, same with Shui Iji, you're going to be engaged. You're going to want to see what she has to say and what she has to do. And I think she commands a great part of this movie, and she just has that gravitas to her that makes you want to keep watching her. But enough about people in front of the camera. Let's talk about people behind the camera as well. A lot of you might know this because it's pretty much been on every trailer and every poster. Ridley Scott directed this movie, which honestly has not been the biggest selling point as of late. His last movie, Exodus, Gods and Kings, was kind of iffy, which has been the situation for most of his movies in the past, with The Counselor and American Graffiti before that, just movies that were okay, just nothing great. But this, I think, is his real return to greatness. He's got a great sense of timing, the pacing is right on topic, or it's right on point, I should say, and it's enjoyable. It's very easy for a movie like this to be very stagnant and focused on one thing, which would have been Matt Damon's character. But they made it humorous, they made it exciting, and I think that's something that really worked out in its benefit. Something else I have to mention is Drew Goddard. Drew Goddard, a lot of you might know, is the showrunner for Daredevil on Netflix. And he's done other superhero stuff, but actually getting a chance to work with a not licensed entity like this, even though it's based on a book, but besides that, he really got a chance to shine with this. And same with what I said for Ridley Scott. The pacing was incredible. So much of this movie could have been like very long shots just on Matt Damon. Could have been very dry but very dramatic. But instead what they did is they kept it lighthearted a lot of the time. They kept it free-moving but not forced on one subject. And because of that, you got to learn about people on Earth, people in space, and the Martian, Matt Damon. And there was a great flow between all three of those things that I think really brought this movie into a good spot in the end. As with a space movie, there's going to be a lot of CGI elements. But honestly, this movie did them very well. The CGI was crisp and clean, and most of the time you're not even going to notice it, which I think is the most important thing for CG to do. Most effective CG is a CG you don't notice. And honestly, when you look at the great Martian landscape, you will have a hard time differentiating what ground he's actually standing on versus the mountainous landscapes off in the distance, which I think is beautiful. This movie had a budget of about $108 million, but just from the opening weekend, it's sitting at about $55 million for a 3-day, which is incredible, and it's also the second highest opening weekend for October ever. Number one, Surviving Held by Gravity, which just goes to show space movies do really good in October. But the movie's doing really well. It's got an 8.4 right now on IMDb, as well as a 74 on Metacritic, which I think is a pretty respectable score, but I expect it to rise over time. Overall, in the spectrum of Ridley Scott, I think this is probably about third in his lineup. Right below Blade Runner and Alien, and somewhere a little bit above Gladiator, in my opinion. And if you see this movie, I strongly encourage you seeing it in a large format screening, such as an RPX or whatever the other ones are called. I just see RPX because I think it's cool. And definitely see it in 3D. It's not one of those movies that's going to throw stuff at you every 5 seconds, which I think is a good thing. But it's going to immerse you in the experience. It's going to make you feel like you're there, and it's really going to add some depth to everything you're watching. Overall, I think Martian is a great movie. It's definitely something you should go out and see with your friends. Get ready for a long one because it's about 2.5 hours long, but it's worth the ride every step of the way. I was engaged, I was excited, I was on the edge of my seat, and it was honestly a movie that kept me guessing. It's so easy for me to just expect a character to live and to survive a hard situation. But this I honestly didn't know, and I won't spoil what happens in the end, but it's really good. Overall, I want to give this movie a 9.5 out of 10. That was great. Sometimes it wasn't as engaging as it could be. That's what keeps it from a perfect score, but honestly, I just really loved it. I really recommend it, and hopefully you will go see it. So guys, thank you for watching week 1 of the weekly wrap. This is not all going to be permanent, as great as I think the wings look on me. This is still a work in progress, so give us some time and we will have a great set built for you, so stay tuned for that. If you want to follow us, the link's below for our Facebook, Twitter, and maybe we'll do a Snapchat or something if you want to see my beautiful face. Also, if you enjoy hearing me talk, I have a podcast called The Cluster Cuss. Find us on soundcloud.com/clustercuss. We are actually about to do a long-form review of the Martian on there, as well as our top 5 space-related movies. And some of them might be displayed down below. Not going to tell you which ones, because Space Jam didn't count, unfortunately. Anyway, guys, thank you again for listening. We hope you tune in next week when we talk about The Walk, starring my man crush Monday, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and directed by Robert Zemeckis. It's going to be super fun. Hope to see you guys next week. So long. I'm the Martian. Look at me. Here's a robot. Go. There's a rover, like on Mars. Look at him rove. Go, buddy. Go. Attaboy.